Welcome everyone, so many people. My name is Amy Denborg. I work for ASSA ABLOY, and I hope most of you know ASSA ABLOY, but if you don't, ASSA ABLOY is most people consider ASSA ABLOY as a lock company, but we do so much more. Some of our offerings are doors and window hardware. We work with access control. Those are kind of one main part of what we're doing. We have identification technologies and entrance automation and service. So, as a company, we are about 52,000 employees over in the world, so quite big. And we operate in 70 plus countries. And we are everywhere, I would say, because we operate in like the transportation section, the retail section, education, hospitality, residential, healthcare, and most of you probably have a key from ASSA. My interest in tech started when I was a little girl. 4, 5, 6 years old. I was walking around with my dad. He's an electrician, and I got to wear his tool belt and, following him around on different work journeys. That's where I got interest in tech. My professional career started in 2000, where I started as a test engineer. And at that time, my goal was to be a really good technical person, good engineer. Leadership was nothing for me. I would never go on that path. But somewhere around 2015 that changed, and I started my leadership career, starting off as a team manager. And at that point, a very wise person told me, Ami, when you become a manager, you need to have 3 words that define you as a leader. And I thought about that. 3 words that define me as a leader, what would that be? So the first word that came to my mind is empathy, because I believe that, a leader needs to have empathy and needs to, feel with your personnel, need to understand your personnel. So that's one of the words that I chose for my leadership. The second word that I thought about was structure. And structure is something that defines me. I don't like things when they're not structured. So it kind of defines me as a person, both personally, but also in my leadership. And the third word, which is kind of not a word, but 3 words, try it out. I believe that when you lead people, you need to try things out. If someone comes and tells me, Ami, I really want to try this, is it possible? Yes, try it out. If it doesn't work, you can always go back. But if you don't try it out, you will never know. So those 3 words have kind of followed me in my leadership. Today I work as the director of an R&D department in ASSA ABLOY Global Solutions Hospitality. So what do we do then? Well, hospitality serves hotels, casinos, resorts, and hostels. So we do everything that has to do with hotels, basically. And what does the hospitality R&D department do? Well, our main focus is access management solutions. So everything that today we have 2 access control solutions. One is called Vision Line. Vision Line is our older on-prem solution that we use for access management of hotels. And we have a new solution called Vostio, which is a cloud-based solution. And the developers that are in the hospitality R&D are mostly working with these 2 solutions. Apart from that, we also develop mobile access. most people want to use their mobile phone for everything today. So that's what we also develop for the hospitality business. We do electronic safes. Those in a hotel room, you have these safes where you can store your passport and other valuables. Those are developed here. Electronic locks, I have 2 of them here, which I'll go into in a bit. And we do integrations. So we work a lot with, in a hotel, there are a lot of integrations with, for example, the elevators or parking lots or things like that. And then we have different IoT solutions as well. My department consists of 10 development teams, and they are working with everything from firmware development, app development, hardware development, electronics and mechanical design, cloud development, UX, and testing. So when I got the question if I wanted to present here, I was thinking, how does the women's situation look like in my company? So, or especially in the hospitality area. So I took out some statistics, and it was kind of interesting because in Hospitality Global, we are about 1,000 people, and 35% are women. Hospitality in Sweden, 37% are women. But then I look at my own R&D department, and I realize that we are only 16% women working. So why is that? Why can't we attract more women into, the deep technical stuff? That's a good question. I think because we're very tech heavy, we get very few female applicants to our ads. And what are we then doing to attract more women? Well, we have a female engineering network at work, but it's not that easy. And if someone has, the grand formula of how to do it, then I'm very happy to hear about it. So let me ask you guys a question. Do you recognize these cards and locks when staying at the hotel? Yeah, see a lot of nodding here. So how have you tried mobile access when staying at the hotel? You download the app from the hotel vendor or the hotel owner, and then you use their app to get your key in your mobile phone. Yeah, some of you have tried it. Well, what we have done is we've taken it one step further. So instead of having an app, we've taken it so that you can get your keys in Apple Wallet. Most of you that have an iPhone know that it's quite easy to use Apple Wallet. And I'm going to show you how that works. I'm not an iPhone user myself, but I learned it's really easy. So I have an iPhone here. I double-click on it. Normally I would have Face ID on this one, but I have to enter the passcode. And voila, the door opens. Very, very innovative and simple. And one advantage of having it in Apple Wallet is, of course, that you can have it in your watch. So the same here. Double-click on it and hold it near the reader, and the door opens. That's innovation, or one part of innovation. We have a lot of different locks for the hotel business. But at one point in time, we were thinking we need a new lock. Now, why do we need a new lock when we have so many locks already? Well, we wanted to build a smarter product. And what do we mean with a smarter product here? Well, we wanted to build something that has a platform thinking that, with all the different locks that we have, of course, different firmwares for the lock. But if we would build a new lock, with one firmware that rules them all. That would be a smart way of developing things. Then, of course, cost is something that everyone thinks about, but we wanted to save production cost, installation cost, and logistic costs. Because we have all these different variants of locks, it costs to produce them because they contain a lot of different parts. It also costs to install them. So we wanted to think about the cost perspective when developing the new lock. But most of all, we wanted to solve some customer problems. So what type of problems does customers have in the hospitality business? Well, if you have a large resort with 10,000 rooms, or if you have a large casino with 2,000-3,000 rooms, battery change is a problem. Once a year, you have to change batteries on your lock. That means, imagine the bag of battery you have to take with you, going from room to room when changing that in a large hotel. So let's do something smart. What else is a problem that we have in the hotel business? Well, firmware updates. We develop all the time, but how do you update the firmwares if the locks are not connected? You send a technician that goes from one room to another, and even if it takes 20 seconds per room, large hotel, a lot of time, and not so much fun for that technician to actually walk around so many rooms. So while we were thinking about a new lock, we thought, let's also think about the environment, because we want to make something that is, sustainable. So that's when we came up with this lock. This is our newest lock, Wingcard Novel. This lock has 9 patents, and that's quite amazing for this small piece of hardware. And all the electronic is in the handle. So everything, it becomes very lean when you install it on the door. And it works quite well as well. I think I have... And you get a red light when you don't have access. This lock is very innovative. We will launch it next month, so it's not yet out on the market. But we made it really, really good, and we thought about a lot of things, especially all the customer problems when we developed it. So sustainability was, of course, one of the main things here. So instead of the normal locks having iron, we're using aluminium, and even better, recycled aluminium, which makes it really sustainable, and our CO2 emissions goes down. It's easy to install because it doesn't have a lot of parts. One single handle, boom, click, installed. So that's really, really good. It has high security as well. It follows all the latest security standards and has encrypted communication and so on. Another problem that we have with our locks is that, a hotel, most people think that you would place the lock indoors, right? But there are hotels that have like bungalows or things like that, and they place the locks outdoors. And they're not really designed for outdoor use, but this one is, you can place it anywhere you want because it's designed for both indoor and outdoor use. So that you won't get into problems when it's raining on the lock. And it can also be, the same lock can be configured for a right-hinged or a left-hinged door. Because that's also something that when you install a new hotel, you need to know exactly where the handle is going to be on the doors before you order it in the factory. But now with this one, we don't really have to think about that. And one of the great innovations that we have thought about in this lock is actually that there is a batteryless version, so that you don't have to change batteries anymore. And how does that work? I'll give you an example, or I'll show you actually. On this door, on the door here, we have a solar panel. Now one would think, why would you need a solar panel in a dark hotel corridor? There is no sun there that's going to charge the batteries, right? But what we do have is we have 2 diodes on the frame. And these diodes are powered with, because in every hotel room, you have power over Ethernet, or you have Ethernet cables going to the TV, so that you can utilize the power over Ethernet and put it on the frame. The frame powers up the 2 infrared diodes here, and the diodes, when the door is closed, powers up the lock. And it can open many times, so it doesn't run out of battery. Voila, a good customer problem solved. And then, because we are using aluminium, the packaging volume is reduced and the weight is reduced, which of course is saves us cost, because when we're shipping them all over the world, then it's cheaper. So the question is then, how do we get, these type of innovations? I mean, this lock also has one good innovation on this one, is that, when you come to a handle like this, you would wonder, okay, do I place my card here? Do I place it here? Where do I place it? How do I know? Here we have a human detector as well. And as soon as there is a person in front of the lock, this one will start blinking. So that's also one of the good innovations about this one. It doesn't work on this demo lock yet, but it should be working on those that will be shipped later on. So how do you get all this innovation within one R&D department? Well, for us, it's all about problem solving. We want to solve problems that our customers have. And when we do that, that's when we get the creativity going. And it starts with the company, actually. So for us, at ASSA ABLOY, we have 3 core values. And innovation is one of them. What does it mean that to have that as a core value? Well, it means that we dare to be innovative, and the company supports it. It supports that we do things, think outside of the box. And we should use technology to fuel change, not something else. And we have a quite extensive innovation strategy at ASSA ABLOY. And some of the, I thought I didn't want to go through the whole innovation strategy, but I thought about a couple of things that I find valuable when thinking about innovation. Design to value for customers. What does that mean? It means that what are our customers willing to pay for? Are they willing to pay for this little extra feature or this little extra thing? Think about that when you're innovating. If the customers have a problem, yes, they are willing to pay for that we actually solve their problems. Another thing is, of course, security and safety, which are important parts of the innovation strategy, because today we've heard quite a lot of things about security and the security threats that we are under. If our products are not as secure, then nobody's going to buy them. And when it comes to safety, we want to build products that are safe at all times. So even when we do development in small cycles, we should always make sure that our products are safe. If you are in a hotel room and then there is a fire, you need to know that this lock is not going to hinder me from getting out of the room. So safety is also something that is part of the whole innovation strategy. Then whatever we develop, we need to protect it with intellectual properties. We have an IP team that help our developers to file patents for what they have created. So we get support from the company to think about innovation and do innovation. And the last part that I thought is very important is the technology management. What can we do with all the new technology that is coming, that is out there? Technology is evolving really, really quick in today's market. And how can we use that technology in our products? Today we see AI coming. How can we use that in locks? We see data analytics. We see new protocols. How do we use that? Well, try it out. That's how you want to work. The second part is, of course, if you get the support from the company, it's up to the leaders. In my case, the leaders in my organization is the product owners of the teams. It's the agile coaches and the line managers. How can they help? Well, they need to lead the team in the right direction. They need to have clear goals of where we're going with the product. They need to have they need to encourage innovation and creative ideas. But how do you do that? How do you encourage someone like, okay, here, innovate? That's not really how it works. Well, if people come with ideas, let them do proof of concepts. Let them try. Let them try and fail, because with failures comes learnings. And if you don't allow that, then you will never succeed in your innovations. So for me, it's really important that, that the leaders encourage and make sure that they hire people from different backgrounds, from different cultures, so that you get the creativity going. And to take the right technical decisions. With the right mindset, it really helps you think forward. If you're stuck in, but we've always done it like this, and you don't dare to try new things or dare to make any changes, then you will never succeed in your innovations. And then, of course, trust and empower the teams. Trust and empower the employees. Give them the right tools. And then that's the leader's responsibility. Then comes the teams. What do they do? Well, you don't want to give a development team answers on how to do development, because they know that the best. Just give them a problem statement, and I guarantee that if you give them a problem, if not tomorrow, in a week or two, they'll have a solution. But what you need to do is you need to give them the freedom and the time and tools to actually be able to create innovations. So if you tell a developer, I need a solution on this by tomorrow, you may not get the best solution. But if you tell them that I need a solution on this, take your time, you plant the seed, and you let it grow. You let the thoughts grow, and I guarantee that they come back with the best ideas. You let them dare to be innovative, no matter how long time it takes. We thought about this lock many, many years ago, but it's grown because the developers have had ideas. But since we never decided that we should go on with this and realize the new lock, they were never realized. But then when we took the decision that, okay, this is the lock we're going for, wow, ideas were popping up like this. Because they know. What I know, my developers at least, they feel very proud of the product that they have created. It doesn't matter if it's the cloud team or the hardware team or the software team. They're all very proud of what they are doing. And when they feel pride, they also feel a responsibility for the products. And when they feel responsibility, they feel eagerness to improve it. And when you give them the freedom that, you know, yes, go ahead with these improvements, that's when magic happens. And then, of course, one important aspect is the cooperation between the teams. Having many different teams like I do, it's so important to get them to cooperate. But yeah, innovation takes time, and the teams need to try different innovation. They need to fail. They need to do prototypes. What we use, for example, we use 3D printing. So if anyone has an idea, they print it on a 3D printer, try it out. Does it work? No. They might fail 10 times before they get it working. And that's okay. Because when they get it working, you know that it will have really good quality and it will have like the best thought of how it works. So, important. We as a corporation, of course, also have challenges. One of the biggest challenges that we are dealing with right now is component shortages. Should we develop our old products with new components, or should we consider new development? It's a case-to-case. We have to consider that on a case-to-case basis today, but we are really struggling with that. We also have challenges with high pressure on features and new functionality, because everyone wants to get, you know, the latest and greatest and so on. And some challenges are, of course, to think about, should you work on support tickets or should we work on new development? Because if everyone's working on only support tickets, then we're not getting anything out. But if it's a balance, and that's the balance you need to kind of consider when you're thinking about these things. And then, of course, one challenge that we have is to meet deadlines when things are coming from the side all the time. But what we want to do is we want to solve customer issues. And when we do that, that's where the new ideas come. And that's where our new development comes. So what do we see, or what do I see for the future? The future for us is, of course, online locks. We want everything to be connected, and more things are being connected today. So having everything online will, of course, make life a lot easier. But with that comes also different challenges, like security. So a lot more security is something that we see for the future. Data analytics is coming with like a high-speed train. Everyone wants data. Everyone wants to look at what can you do with the data. So that's something that we are also looking at. What can we do with data? What do we need it for? Is there a need? Well, it's so hype at the moment, so of course there is a need. The question is, how do we utilize it? We see for the future, now that we're building our platform, that we want to, with this new lock, build a lot of other products that are built on the same way, on the same platform, on the same firmware, and so on. So we see that we have new keypads, elevator controllers, remote controllers, and other hardware. We also see need for these in-room safes. We want them to be connected as well, or online. So that's something that we think is going to happen in the near future. And of course, now we have Apple Wallet, but there are other wallets out there. So let's see when we get support for that as well. Yeah, that was all that I had today. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you measure the success of an innovation?
How do I measure a success of an innovation? I'm repeating the question because otherwise the people online won't hear. I measure the success when I see that, well, first of all, if an innovation is, we get the patent of it, of course, but then how sellable is it? Can we make money out of it? And how do we use it? So I would say, yeah, from a money perspective, of course. Yes?
You mentioned data analytics, BI. So when connecting all the logs, I guess you would gain a lot of data. What type of insights do you see that you could gain, or we as consumers could gain out of that?
Yeah, so the question was that with data analytics, what type of insights do I see when we gather a lot of data? I see that, when we're gathering a lot of data, in the hotel business, for example, or in a hotel, maybe our hotel personnel wants to know where people are moving around in the hotel. If it's a large spa hotel, for example, you want to know when are people going into the spa, when are people going into the restaurant, when are they have. I think they have quite a good clue, but with data you can actually see, okay, this is when we need to have extra staff here or extra staff there. So you can utilize the data that you collect in that way with door openings, for example. Yes?
I'm actually wondering regarding component shortage that you mentioned. Do you have like a big team working on it, like your own, like the hardware team in ASSA ABLOY, or you actually also reach to other companies regarding that problem? Or
Yeah. So the question was whether I have my own team working with component shortages or if we reach outside. We have our own team. I have one hardware team, and that hardware team is working on both new development and redesigning old products. And today they have to balance a lot between, they can't go full speed ahead on new development because the component shortages makes it really, really difficult. But we are doing it in-house. We don't have external companies doing it for us.
I'm working as a hardware designer as well. That's why I'm wondering how do you solve those issues? Because I can see that on the market currently, like almost every single company who has their own hardware is actually struggling with it.
Yeah, and we are struggling with, like, the way we are solving it is that we decrease the speed of the new development and then focus on at least the main products so that we don't run out of products to sell, because if you run out of products to sell, well, then you're out of business, right? But one question is also, okay, what about we speed up the new development in such a good pace that, we can scrap the old hardware, but that new development takes time. So it's not possible to do that. And with all the component shortages is one thing, but also the security standards that are coming, like Red Directive that is coming from the European Union and things like that, it also means that we need to think about all the old hardware that we have. Is it going to work with all the new security standards? Well, if we know that, well, in a year or in 1.5 years, this is not going to work, then we might not focus so much on developing those things, but rather focus on the new stuff. So it's really a case-to-case basis on what we do with on the hardware projects. Yes?
I'm curious about how you work with balancing the short-term ticket versus the long-term innovation. Do you unique resources?
We don't have unique. So the question was how to balance between short-term tickets and long-term initiatives. And no, we don't have a team working with only support tickets because that would be not so much fun for the teams, never to be involved in any new development. So we need to balance it. And the way we balance it is that sometimes we focus on the new stuff and then the support tickets needs to wait. And sometimes we need to, now we need to really take a couple of weeks here and just take off a little bit of our backlog in support tickets, and that's what we do then. We take a sprint or something and take all the high prior support tickets. But it's a balance all the time, and the way we do it is we take it case by case. Of course, if there is an emergency ticket and the hotel can't access any rooms, you have to address it straight away. But if there are low priority tickets, then we take them case by case. Yes?
So you said in the beginning you were pretty shocked when you saw there was only 16% women in your department. And I'm wondering, as a leader, how do you work with inclusiveness and diversity?
As a leader, how do I work with inclusiveness and diversity? I think when we recruit, we look at competence. I think because we have to look at competence. It shouldn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. Of course, we would like to see more women already in our recruitment process. But when it comes to inclusiveness, I think that maybe I'm not working very actively with it, but we make sure that everyone feels inclusive, no matter, it's not only male or female, but also it's about, whether you are not from Sweden or Swedish or all different type of people. And we try to think about that already in the recruitment process, that we should have diversity within the teams, because diverse teams are the teams that actually work the best. And you don't want everyone in a team to have kind of the same profile, because that becomes kind of... If you have, it's also about, if you have a team with only senior people, you don't get anything done. You need a mix of senior and junior people, because otherwise they are going to be ending up in discussions on how to do things. You need workers. So it's all about, we try to get teams that work very, the people in the team, that they get along and that they work well together. So we try to fine-tune the teams very well.
But you don't have a program for that?
We don't have a program for that. We try to do it on a case-by-case basis, but we work a lot with the teams that they feel that they are, nobody's feel left out and so on. And we try to coach people. The line managers are coaching the people as well on how to behave in a team constellation. Good. Yes?
Maybe the last question. From your experience of working at ASSA ABLOY, what would you say are the things that make ASSA ABLOY a good place for a female engineer to work?
Ooh. What makes ASSA ABLOY a good place for a female engineer to work? Well, I work in tech, so I love my job. And the reason I do that is because I think we have so many cool products. So if you're a little bit, not only tech nerdy, but a little bit tech nerdy, then, these kind of things gets you going. But I think that we have a very good working culture. I think that we have a nice working environment, and you have the flexibility. I believe that working here, I feel happy when I go to work. And that's a feeling that you would like to have when you go to work, because if you're not happy about your work, then you're in the wrong place. So not only the technologies and the products that we're doing, because these are really cool products. And something that I also feel that when I'm going to work or when I'm working is that everyone knows our products, because we are in the market where people recognize themselves. So you can talk about it, and people will say, "Oh yeah, but I know that one." And then you get going about, "Oh, but do you know that have you tried mobile access? Next time you enter a hotel room, try mobile access. Next time, try that." So I think that makes it a great workplace, and of course the colleagues. Yes.
So, which concrete things could you do to actually get more women into your department?
The question was, what concrete could you do to get more women into the department? I believe in employer branding. I think that we need to be out there much more visible on student fairs and other fairs and things, so that we are shown not only as a hardware company, but that we also work with software. And to get more women, I think it's all about branding. So more branding activities to attract more women. And be in places like this. Good. Thank you very much.